braga kvána sko gefanda endurníð þú líka máklund halvfegur þán ég góma sen grósku setleika og klangan þrótt og lát líf vaksa sem var eftir vetur braga kvána sko gefanda endurníð þú líka máklund halvfegur þán ég góma sen grósku setleika og klangan þrótt og lát líf vaksa sem var eftir vetur á íðunni lúta epla geimi braga kvána sko gefanda endurníð þú líka máklund halvfegur þán ég góma sen grósku setleika og klangan þrótt og lát líf vaksa sem var eftir vetur á íðunni lúta epla geimi braga kvána sko gefanda endurníð þú líka máklund halvfegur þán ég góma sen grósku setleika og klangan þrótt og lát líf vaksa sem var eftir vetur og klangan þrótt og lát líf vaksa sem var eftir vetur á íðunni lúta epla geimi braga kvána sko gefanda endurníð þú líka máklund halvfegur þán ég góma sen grósku setleika og klangan þrótt og lát líf vaksa sem var eftir vetur
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, world. Hello, hello. Welcome to Renata in the UK. Hello, Renata. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, and welcome to your Saturday morning, also through Heathen, Norse Pagan prayer service. My name is Reverend Ben Kowalski-Urek. I am presenting this in conjunction with my function as a Gothi with the Troth. So we'll say presented by the Troth. Ooh, tired this morning. A mouthful. Good morning. We will get started shortly. Oh, I see we have someone first time catching the stream. Hello, Romania. Walk over London. Rock over Romania. Rock over Bucharest. Okay. So, for everyone who's new here, just to give you an idea of what the structure is of what we do. First, we'll start off by talking about education. So, there's this thing over here, the threefold method. This is my own method of prayer. I made it up. I'm going to walk through it with you. I'm going to educate you as to where I got the different parts, where the different ideas came from, and what we do with each part. Next, we're actually going to do it together. You can, of course, do it at home, and I'm not going to know because I'm on camera and you're not. And I'm not going to demand that you turn on your camera so I can check your form. You, of course, may do this along with, or you may not. You choose. Take whatever pieces of this that you want to, mold it into your own practice, or take none of it and say, well, that was nice, but not for me. Totally okay. Totally okay. I will not at all be offended. Because again, this was something that I made up. I did not pull this off of a rune stone or out of a saga or anything like that. It was pulled from multiple different sources over the last 20 years of practice that I've had. So this is really just your window into seeing how one person who has been in this religion for a while does a certain thing. That's how that goes. After doing that together, we are then going to just have a nice short Q&A session. So if you have questions about Asatru, heathenry, or Norse paganism, I'm a Gothi. I should be able to answer some of them. If you have questions about the Troth, that's the organization that presents this prayer service, what they do. I'm the president of that organization. I should be able to answer some of the questions about that too. Okay? All right. Let's get started with education. We'll talk about where this comes from and answer some of the questions along the way, each part. So before someone gets started praying, usually the question they want to know is which way should I be pointing myself? Which way should I be oriented? The typical thing that I'd say, well, if you have an altar already, see, I have my hands on that camera now. My altar. You then, of course, could use your altar as a way to orient yourself. Okay, here's my altar. I face my altar. Here's my shrine. I face my shrine. If you have one at home, absolutely, you can use that. Great. If you don't have one, I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy one. There's no need for you to buy one, build one, or anything like that. You don't need one. They're simply a way of expressing your faith, your devotion that you build up over time, right? You don't need one right away, especially if you're just getting started. When I first got started in my dorm room in 2004, I did not have an altar, which eventually was confusing because I'm like, which way do I face? what am I supposed to be looking at? So what I would say is there are two directions mentioned in the lore. There's scattered places, and there's no real rhyme or reason to it. It's just kind of put out there. So for, I believe in Bede, they have the Anglo-Saxons facing east at some point. And then in the sagas, one of the sagas, people are facing north. So you have east and you have north. I combine the two. So it could be a local cultural practice. I just combined the two and said, okay, well, if the sun's coming up, I'm going to face east. If the sun's gone down, then I'm going to face north. So sun comes up, east, sun going down or has set, face north. So up, east, down, north. Sound good? Good. Next, after you found out which way you're going to be looking, we want to open and cleanse the space for whatever ritual we're about to. We live in multi-purpose spaces, to put it mildly. Like, as you can see behind me, this is a gym sometimes. This is an office sometimes. This is a kid's playroom. Sometimes this is all different kinds of things in this room, right? Our rooms and our houses and our apartments and our spaces serve multiple purposes for us. We want to set aside the space that we are praying in as special and sacred and holy for the time that we're using it, right? We want to do that. And most of us out there want an easy way to do it. Well, unfortunately, in heathenry, we haven't historically made it really easy, right? We've made it pretty, what would I say? We like to do things out loud here. If you've been heathen for a good amount of time, you know that a lot of heathens like to be loud and out there and in your face, which is why I think for those of you who are old school, the hammer right is still rather popular because it's rather dramatic, right? I mean, it's very here, I'll demonstrate. So usually the hammer right was the way that we in the old school would, and still in the new school, people still do it. I'm just saying that this definitely comes from the old school, where people would hold a hammer, like an actual hammer, would say, "Hammer in the north, hail and hallow this holy stead. Hammer in the east, hail and hallow this holy stead." Of course, they do it much more dramatically and more with more gravitas than I do. I have the charisma of a corpse, but like the people that would do this were usually very dramatic and, you know, loud and boisterous, and really the kinds of things that you think of when you think of what heathens behave like. Anyway, a little too loud for me, and especially if like you're sharing your space with other people, it's not going to be the thing. Another thing that people have done over time is they've started to use fire. Usually it's a candle or a lantern, and they'll walk around the holy space with the candle, chanting or singing quietly to sacralize that, make that holy. Well, I don't have much space, right? My right hand here is now touching a desk. My left hand is now touching a wall. I don't have much space. I'm not going to be walking around anywhere with a big old fire to sacralize this. What I did is I just kind of thought, all right, let's get we need a way for people like you and me in small spaces to just have a nice, quick, hallowed space. It doesn't require us to start shouting. It doesn't require us to have a hammer or to light a fire. Like this. This is something I got from our friends from the East. A bell or a gong or or a little gong or a singing bowl or clapping your hands 3 times. We do that 3 times to cleanse the space, and then after that we bow towards our chosen direction. So whether it's towards our altar, or towards the east, or towards the north, we bow, and then we come to kneeling. After kneeling, since we bless the space, might as well bless ourselves too. So this little blessing I have, right hand to the forehead, touch that, say, bless my thoughts. I wish I had more thoughts coming to me easier today. Just woke up. Touch hand to the throat, say, bless my words, and extend my hands in front of me and say, bless my deeds. I'm seeing here, Renata. Yes, Renata says the hammer right always sounded very Wiccan. That's because it is. So the hammer right actually does come to us from Wicca. There's a rite there called the calling of the corners, and we took that rite and we repurposed it for the hammer rite. That's why it sounds that way, because it actually came from Wicca. And yes, it inherits somewhat of the drama and the what we might call the ritual performance of high magic and Wicca. And yes, precisely that reason, it's always felt that way to me too. Yes, and still, I do want to emphasize that, and I'll say this: people still do the hammer rite to this day. Just because something came from Wicca doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's part of our history, part of our legacy. It's part of a long time where, long time relatively in heathen history, where during the revival of the faith, we and Wiccans were working side by side in a lot of cases. So I have a legacy of that. And a lot of people, especially those who came from Wicca or who actually ordained in that tradition, still do it to this day. Still true. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I know someone's old school if they're doing the hammer right. That's usually how I think of it, is like, oh, they're old school. Yeah. Can you take notes from this? Yes, you may. You may certainly. Yes, that's why I say relatively long time with regards to like heathenry, because heathenry, the revival of heathenry is about 50 to 60 years old. The Wicca is actually technically, in terms of modern revival or modern pagan religion, a little bit older. So, next, after we do our blessing, after we blessed ourselves, come to kneeling, what's the next thing that we do? The next thing that we do is we actually begin the prayer proper. What do we say? What do we say during prayer? What is it that Norse pagans say? I wish I could tell you that I have an ancient scroll or something from a runestone telling you exactly what Norse pagans said in the past, but we don't have that. We don't. There's nothing out there that gives you a full comprehensive prayer. Sorry, but what we do have is a lot of poetry. A lot of poetry written down by Christians, but supposedly dates back to actual pre-Christian poetry. And in that poetry, there are some verses that actually seem like they make pretty good prayers. And one that a lot of people have settled on is the Sigdrifamal. That's verses 2 and 3 of the Sigdrifamal that begin, Hail Day, Hail Sons of Day, and that second verse that begins, Hail the Gods, Hail the Goddesses. Those two verses are the ones that a lot of people use, a lot of heathens use as their prayers. So we're going to be no different. We're going to take those two. I'm going to add a little something though. After those two, I put in free verses. So what I call free verses are verses that are constructed like the verse in the Sigdrifamal, but they are totally off the top of the head, and they are for individual gods and goddesses. So chat, as is our tradition, we'll say, if you have requests for gods, goddesses that you would like to be hailed or worshipped today as part of this prayer service, please go ahead and put their names in the chat. If caveat, and I didn't think I'd have to do this, if it's a very obscure god or goddess that you don't think a lot of people would know about, please a little context for them. I even get stumped sometimes. Yes, I am a Gothi, but I don't know everything. So if you have some more context as to why you want them praised, and again, don't feel like you have to hold back or anything like that. Someone says we should start with hail not, like not hail day, hail sons of day. Yeah, that's how, I don't know, that's how the prayer goes. That's how it's Heile Dager. Isn't that right? So after doing those prayers together, so we'll do each verse. After each verse I prostrate, so I'll speak a verse and then I'll prostrate. That means go full face down, hands down, and then I'll come right back up, speak the second verse, full face down, hands down, third verse, just keep going until all those 3 verses are done. I don't typically like going on a marathon of those, makes you a little bit lightheaded, but either way, we'll keep doing those until we are all done with our free verses, and then we are going to do a meditation. So that meditation is just going to be a quick 2-minute reflection. I think that prayer is the encounter of the individual, that's us, with the gods. That's us encountering them. That's us and our time with them. And in that moment, we're aligning, communing with them. What I meditate on is how I take that moment of connection, of alignment with the gods, how I take that and take that out of this space once we're done. How do I take that out of this space and live that through my life? So, and I just tend to think of it as, how do I seek wisdom? How do I speak kindly and truthfully towards others? And how do I do good and healing deeds once I leave today? So, or get on with my day. So that's what I think. Think about this as a divine encounter. And how do we take this divine encounter and move it into the rest of our lives? How do we live our lives by it? And yes, the details of this prayer method are documented on the Troth's website under our rituals page. You should be able to find it there. All right. So after doing the meditation, I will stand up, I'll bow twice more, and then we will be done and dusted, ready to go. Now let's see here. Who do we have in our lineup today? We got Odin, Freya, Hel. How many? Oh, I also have a question. How many times a week may I use the scheme of this prayer service by my own self? As many as you want, Marcus. I mean, this is meant to be just this is meant to be simple. The prayer itself, the only reason this takes half an hour or more is because the education and the Q&A part. The prayer itself takes about 5 minutes at most. It can be even quicker than that. So this is really meant to be something that you can do anytime. Maybe not at the dinner table. Be a little weird to prostrating right near food. All right, Thor, gotcha. Frigg and Balder, okay. How can Loki be worshipped properly? I almost want to do that one in the Q&A, but I'm going to give you the short answer right now before we get started. Just like every other god. Just like every other god. To me, there's no difference. Balder and Hel, sure. Loki. Tyr. Adjust the prayer to your dinner table should you want to. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the table prayer is a little bit different. We don't want to have people, they're usually quite a bit more simple, but again, this is something you could do anytime you want to. All right, let's get going. Okay, let's get started, everybody. I will stand and we'll get started. And like I said, Instructions will be put up on the screen. Bless my thoughts, bless my words, bless my deeds. Hail day, hail sons of day, hail night and her daughter. Look upon us with kind eyes, as we who are patient find peace. Hail the gods, hail the goddesses, hail the ever-giving earth. Bless us with wisdom, kind words, and healing hands, lifelong. Hail Odin, hail Father of Wisdom, hail you fearless of death. Odin, grant us the wisdom and the guidance. That we may go through life, understand true goodness, and understand best how to serve this world we're in, and our fellow men and spirits within it. Hail Freya, hail to our joy, hail to our gracious one, to the bright, shining necklace of Brisingamen. Freya, bless and protect our lives, fill our hearts with joy. Bless us with love, and embrace us with your grace. Hail Hel, hail to the gracious lady, hail to the keeper and the protector of our beloved dead. Hail, may you bless and protect those in your care, our beloved dead. Bless and keep them, show them your wondrous hospitality until the day that we are reunited again in your halls. Hail Thor, hail to the son of Odin and of earth, hail to our sustainer and our protector. Thor, may your hammer bless and protect those who are traveling, those on a journey, drive all evil from their path, crush all obstacles in their way, and ensure they return safely home. Hail Frigg, hail beloved mother, hail the blessed weaver, magic. Frigg, bless and protect us, bless and protect the children, innocent victims of war. Protect them, heal them, keep them safe. Hail Baldur, hail to the guide, the light to the dead and to the lost. Baldur, may your light be a comfort to those who have passed. May they know that you lead them to a place of comfort, of rest in hell's gracious halls. Well, this is an interesting one to do back to back. Hail Loki. Hail to the faithful companion. Hail to the transformer. Loki, may you stand by and guide those who are on their journey, become who they are truly meant to be. Bless them, protect them, stand by them, and turn the obstacles that they go through into the path that they must tread, becoming who they are meant to be. Tyr, hail Tyr, hail to the Lord of righteousness. Hail to the Father, righteous victory and justice. Tyr, grant us the courage, your courage, to do the right thing even when it is the hard thing, and to walk the path of justice, fairness. May our words be true, and may we stick to our words as you do. All right. Let's move to our meditation. And let's think on how do we take this moment of divine encounter with the gods, how do we move that into the world around us by seeking wisdom, speaking kindly and truthfully towards others, and doing good deeds. 2 minutes. Or about 2 minutes. Let's go.
See Bjartri leiðar ljósið deyjan nótt og ura og baldri lúta og baldri lúta Bjartri leiðar ljósið deyjan nótt og ura og baldri lúta og baldri lúta.
All right, folks. Now let's stand, bow twice more. We'll get to our Q&A. Thank you, everyone, for attending our service this morning. I'm going to pop over to our education station once again. Thank you so much for participating in our prayer service this morning. I don't know if you were able to follow along at home. If you were, wonderful. If you weren't, or just weren't into it, hey, that's okay too. This is for learning as much as it is for doing. So thank you all for being here this morning. Now we're in the part of our Q&A. So if you guys have questions about did or questions about also through Norse paganism, heathenry, about the troth and the things that we do, I am more than happy to answer as many questions as I can if you have them. If you don't, and every single question that you could ever has been answered already, hey, great. I'll just stare at this camera for a little while. Ooh, there it is. How do I keep, what do I do with my hands? And what do I even think when meditating? Okay, so, I should have thought of that before. Yes, what do I do with my hands is a big question. So I clasp them like this, right? This is usually how I do it. There's also, for like longer meditations, I don't do this because this ends up becoming hard to do over a long period of time. So if it's a short meditation or prayer or something like that, I usually clasp my hands like this. If it's a long meditation, I rest my hands in my lap, like one hand on my left leg, one hand on my right leg, like that, if I'm kneeling for an extended period of time. Also, sometimes, since when I learned meditation, I learned Zen style. So that means right hand inside left, or is it left inside right? I think it's right hand inside left, like this, like you're holding a leg, and then you hold it at your belly button, like that, if you're going through like a long period of seated meditation. Straight back, but yeah, either do hands here or hands here. And what do you think when meditating? As I said, so for this short meditation, I tend to be of the when meditating, the meditation that we do here is very different than like the meditation that I would do otherwise. The meditation that I do for prayer is more a meditation on the nature of the divine encounter, the nature of my moment with the gods, and how I take that moment with the gods and move that into my day-to-day life. And I think about how am I going to, so the questions that go through my mind are, how am I going to seek wisdom today? How am I going to speak kindly and truthfully towards others today? How am I going to do good and healing deeds today, this week, whatever it is? Tyr is not the god of justice, he is the god of the right. So the rights and laws of the community, whatever the community is composed of. Yeah, Kanata, I think yes and yes, but I also think Tyr has an aspect of obligation as well. If we think about if we think about that story about Fenrir, right? And the Tyr putting his hand in Fenrir's mouth. You know, Tyr is very much I think an innocent party here who's being told what to do, that, you know, the gods have made this particular decision. He then has to follow it through, right? Because he has to. he's doing the thing that no one else is going to do because he knows it's the will of the community, right? He's the one doing the thing. He knows that if he doesn't do this thing, then bad things will happen. He's the one who ends up having to do it. So it's this idea of that justice or the right or whatever it is puts obligations upon us to do things that we may not want to do. So that's usually how I think of that. And you are correct. There's no particular sense where Tyr is ever called the Lord of Justice. It's the Lord. It's usually framed in terms of righteousness, courage, victory. What do I think of Ocean Keltoy's videos? Very well produced, and I would say subject matter wise, fairly I would say thorough. I would say he's very thorough in his treatment of the subject matter, and his videos are very high quality as well. Probably him and Fog and Fen, who also formerly known as the Norse Witch, probably have the best video making capabilities of any of the YouTube Norse talk, or not Norse talk, any of the YouTube Norse pagan content that I see. So yeah, I'd say high quality videos, and his treatment of subject matter is, I'd say it's good. That's correct, Ganata. Not the justice of the wolf for the wolf, but justice of the Aesir. Correct. Do we call the gods lords or ladies, or by their names? What names do they? What terms do we use? Yes. Well, we could say Lord of blah blah blah. We could say Lord. In fact, Freya actually is not a name. It's a title. It's an epithet. It means lady. So her actual name is is kind of a mystery. You know, there's lots of people who have theories as to what Freya's actual name is, but Freya is just a title meaning the lady. Just like Freyr, Yngvi. Freyr is the Lord, Yngvi is the name. So Frey, when people have been saying Frey or Freyr, what they mean is Lord, you know, the Lord, Yngvi. That's right. Yngvi Freyr, Lord Freyr. That's right. So sometimes and sometimes you would say Lord Odin or something like that. You can do that if you want to. It's not a terrible thing to call a god or goddess Lord or Lady. Totally okay, as Lord and Lady are signs of respect and reverence. Yes, you can use those titles. You can be reverent in heathenry. It's totally okay. it's okay to do that. All right, folks. Thank you so much for your questions today, and thank you so much for your participation in the prayer service. I am so glad to do these. I'm blessed that I get to do these with you. And thank you to all the newcomers who came today to get their questions answered, to see something like this for the first time. Thank you for coming here, for asking your questions, for being curious, for sitting with us. Yes, we're going to show respect to the gods. You don't necessarily need to treat them like the Christian God, but showing respect to the gods is okay. You can do that. It's fine. It's a good thing to do. It is a good thing to do. But I will say again, and showing respect to you guys, thank you so much for your attendance here. Again, it's a lot more fun with more people talking. We're coming up on just about a year of doing these prayer services, and I do remember when we first started, I was doing these very much by myself. So it is so, I just want to say, it's so wonderful to have company for these services. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you for participating. Thank you for asking your questions. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Also, we are going to be doing this service again at 8:30 p.m. tonight for our 8:30 p.m. Central Time tonight. And we will see you then. So, thank you so much. Thank you for attending.